awesome. Jim, just so thankful for you being here today, and just thank you so much for taking the time. And one of the reasons why we really wanted to do this interview today is because, in working, inside the office every single day, seeing you work, no matter where you go around Florida, when you say Jebco Ventures, Jim Bridges, your name holds weight. You have a fantastic reputation. You've done such a wide variety of projects. And when we look at the momentum on a forward moving basis, your foot is on the gas, flat out, with no signs of slowing down at all. And so the purpose of this podcast, Titans Journey, is to interview titans of industry, to cover their story and their journeys from their childhood to where they are today. And that's the purpose of this podcast. And we share those lessons with the world. And a lot of people have been benefiting since the launch of our podcast earlier this year. So thank you for being our second guest.
Hey, it's my pleasure being here. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. So take us back to Manchester, Georgia, and just the beginning of Jim Bridges.
Manchester's a little mill town. Population might be 1,800 to 2,500. It's not a very big town at all. I left there as soon as I could. I was grateful that I had a place to go, and I got into Auburn with a grant and aid, some other stuff. I had to study differently, and sometimes I would, study at 3 a.m. in the morning or get up at 3 a.m. and study before my classes. And I always had classes. I don't know. The first class usually was 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11. So by 12, I could go to work. This went on the entire 4+ years I was at Auburn.
Did you come from like a well-to-do family over in Georgia? Did you always have family in business?
The short answer is no. My dad had a serious drinking problem. Sometimes I have to go find him. He didn't make much money. Worked in a cotton mill. My mother, she worked in a facility where, again, her hands would come on bleeding. It was just, it's this type of position you give someone that can't do anything else, and they had no education. My mother I think she finished the 5th grade. My dad never. I don't recall him ever mentioning going to school. But we had a lot of dogs, hunting dogs. Yeah. He loved the dogs. I still do. I think I inherited that from my dad. But I'd have to go find him a lot of times because he'd get paid. First thing he would do is go, we had a lot of moonshiners in the place I lived. And he'd be hunting a bottle of whiskey. Maybe this is way too far out there, and I'd have to go find him because he'd pass out somewhere. But he had a good heart. He was a good man, but he led a hard life. Hard life is, my gosh, you just don't know until you've been there. Mm. He had a Model A. I used to sit in the back, going back. Model A's worth quite a lot of money these days. I remember sitting back in the jump seat. And it was old when he'd crank it to start it and all this stuff. So we were just poor, poor. But right. I didn't know I was poor. So,
and what are some memories, from childhood in terms of that contribute most to who you are now?
I was determined. A lot of my classmates were going to college, but they had money. Their tuition it wasn't anything compared to today, but we had no money whatsoever. So I spent my entire college career working, so I would have some time to study. So I would take my classes. We were first class in the morning. I think at that time was 7 o'clock. Then I'd take them in sequence, 8, 9, 10, 11, so I could be on my job by 1 o'clock. And this went on for my entire college
career
tenure. Anyway, I graduated. My mom and dad began to really understand a little bit about college. I do recall them coming to my graduation. because they
You must
didn't
have been
know.
very proud when that happened.
They were, but they didn't even know
What it took, possibly.
yeah, they did. They were
Mm.
there but they were there.
Yeah.
And I went on and, and took a few jobs in the interim. I changed jobs quite a few times because they were they were careers, they were jobs. It's just the jobs that nobody else wanted to do.
Mm.
So I got hooked up with a gentleman. He was from upstate New York. I won't call this company, it was Kid or Peabody. I just thought I'd share that. He went public. Now, I've gone probably 5 years from where I was. I was 23 at the time, I guess. Time I graduated from school, but he hired me, and he took the company public. Well, I didn't even know what that was. We sold shares of stock. All of a sudden, we have money. He had money. The company had money. I didn't have any because I would go to the same place every day and get the same thing. Crystal Hamburger. They were this big around, and they were 15 cents. But I learned a little bit about real estate because we did a lot of FHA 221D4s. We did a lot of subsidized housing. But he would send me in Alabama. That was my territory. And I would go over there, and I'd come back, and next thing I know, we got applications in to HUD, and eventually they got approved. And then I coordinated the infrastructure. I didn't know very much about construction. And I did quite a few apartment units under the FHA programs on behalf of the company. It was public, but he was he wasn't nice to work with. Being a Southern guy with my heritage, and him being at that time had moved down from New York, and he was mean to me. Let me put it that way, okay? Because I was poor, and he could, it's amazing how people treat other people when they think they can. Mm. But we got in this big argument over nonsense, and I ended up losing my temper a little bit. And I remember knocking this glass off on the floor as I walked out of the room, never to see him again. And I started my own company. I started at 61, 65. I was, when I say started,
Jebco Ventures?
Jebco Ventures, James Edward Bridges' company. And that's where the name Jebco came from. And I established relationships. Could have been my accent. It could have been because I worked hard. And I worked my way into, at first I got to know all the people in the retail business that were opening supermarkets. I was one of the larger developers. I became one of the larger developers in Atlanta. I've long since left Manchester for Kroger. I actually brought Sinister Mill and Bring and Cub Food to the States. I did food lines. I did all the food stores, and I didn't have a problem, even though I didn't have much money. They made the loans based on the credit of the tenants. So I as any business, it's built on relationships, and I would do some entertaining. I don't want to linger on this too long, but I ended up getting into relationships. A master's ticket can go a long way sometimes, So it was they would tell me, insinuate or tell me what market they'd like to be in. But I wasn't the only one. I had competition. But I started developing food stores. And it wasn't hard because they were making the loan based on the credit of the tenant. And as long as I had a bonded job from a contractor, I could borrow money at a very early age.
And how did you gain the knowledge? I know that from your background, you mentioned the individuals in your family didn't come from education. You paved your own way going to Auburn and being the first in your family to have attended college, and the backstory of working through college and, coming home at 3 a.m. while you're after doing a long day's worth of work and then studying and then having the opportunity to work outside of college in the real estate field. Did you have a mentor, and what were the steps taken to acquire said knowledge? Did you learn on the fly? Would love to learn about how you came to also gain the confidence to set your own way, create your own shop, and scale into various avenues.
My first real developments situation, I went back to my hometown, Manchester. Manchester never grew at all, but the one thing they were lacking was grocery stores. Found a site, put it under contract. I convinced the guy, hey, he knew who I was, but and at that time, Big Star, probably out of business many, many years ago, I got them to commit to opening a store. And I think at first I probably exaggerated sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And I got a partner. He was a contractor. Well, I had a contractor, I had a site under contract, and I had a signed lease from Big Star, Manchester, Georgia. Doggone it. I went back to Manchester, and darn, they had a radio station. By then, they put me on the radio. They did this, they did that. I was jacked, okay. Oh, here I am back in Manchester, Georgia, building a shopping center. And it was like had a little girlfriend back then, somewhere along the line, and my others refused to allow her to see me, date me, whatever you want to call it, but because I was born, lived on the other side of the tracks. And, I remember making the statement, I refuse you cannot go out with Jim Bridges. He lives on the other side of the tracks, and in the mill village, he's never going to amount to anything. Well, you kid, that hurts. My gosh, that hurts so bad. So I ended up doing a project in LaGrange, Georgia, not far from Manchester, apartment building. Went ahead and did the shopping center, and there's Nancy and and going on down, fast forward a little bit. Mother was shopping in my grocery store, and Nancy was in my apartment building in LaGrange, Georgia, where and I don't really want to get into that type of thing, but it was like, okay, I showed you, but it was sick when you're a child and people, a young man or a young lady growing up, and to hear those kind of comments because you're poor and they look down on you.
And was this around middle school time or high school? At what age did those words?
Yeah, it was. It got worse as I got older. I did that. I was out of school at that time. I was out of high school, but I went back to my roots where I still knew a lot of people. And I had to go get a money partner and a contractor. So instead of owning 50%, I did own 50%, but when we got through, I didn't get quite 50%, but that was okay. And that was the first deal I did.
How many years did it take to put that deal together?
I'm sorry?
How many years did it take to put that deal together?
It took about 3 totally.
Okay.
From start to finish, construction. The contractor was from Alabama. And I wasn't just, I'd learned how to, when I was with the other company, Housing Systems, I'd learned how to do these FHA apartments. So, but had now just finished a commercial deal. Didn't want to do apartments anymore. So I started doing shopping centers.
And why didn't you want to do apartments anymore?
Well, they were FHA funded, and they weren't funded by FHA, but FHA they guaranteed the repayment. I mean, it was money out there, but I was doing that when I had a partner when the company went public. In that company, I had left, a few years earlier, so I was on my own really, and I wanted to develop commercial. That just seemed like the right thing to do at the time. And I didn't have the track record to borrow money, but, once you do one deal and you do the next one, you get people's attention and they don't look at you like, okay, I'm taking a chance on this guy. I've seen what he does and what he can do. But I did have a partner then because he was a contractor. So
and coming back to your roots and having done that first deal, that must have been a very marking moment in your career in looking back at it, I would like to take a step back from your upbringing. I know you mentioned those words that cut deeply, from the mother and the ex-girlfriend. Growing up, did you ever see the signs of being from a lower income family, or you were in your own bubble as a family and, your parents provided the support needed where it didn't even come across until people pointed it out to you? At what point did you realize, okay, there's more out there than your current environment, and how did that shape your vision of what you wanted to accomplish in the future?
Well, I never really went back home frequently because I was working at Auburn. Still had my jobs down there, even in when the semester had ended. I'm still working, so I didn't go home much. I had a 63, 61 Volkswagen. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to go back to Manchester from that time. Auburn, but it made it a few times before it gave out entirely. But I tried. Kids can be mean, and I got myself in some altercations a few times, because it was I grew up being, I won't say laughed at. I grew up, kids can hurt you really, really bad. And I began to make a lot of friends. Not the friends that lived over the track, that had the money, that would, you walk past them, they turn their nose up at you, whatever, but the real friends. One I even followed to Auburn. I didn't know where Auburn was. I wanted to go to college because my friends were, 2 or 3 of my friends were going. I thought I was an athlete. I wasn't an athlete.
What was your sport?
Basketball. God, you think you can walk on at a major institution? No, you can't do that. My gosh. I mean, it's like a joke. I mean, these young men out there, they're so good, and they were good back in when I was trying to go too. But so I was the, I'm gonna say star, if you will. I was the guy on our high school basketball team that shined more than anybody else. And I played baseball. I played everything but football. And I tried to play football, and the coach didn't. Well, not sure he liked me that very well, but he wanted me to stand there and let somebody run over me. Well, I didn't like that idea, in scrimmage. I want to step aside and do something. So I didn't play football. I played on the tennis team. I was captain of the tennis team. I was, I was an athlete, because I had.
Do you keep any sports hobbies today?
No, I really don't. I have arthritis really bad. I'm working on that somehow. I'm not even an average golfer, but because I can't grip the club, so I don't. I don't do much athletic today. It's I miss playing golf. All my buddies are playing golf right now. And even though I had a set of golf clubs or two, I never found it to be something that I was especially very good at. Although I hit a few shots occasionally. But this is when I'm back here and I'm building shopping centers. I'm doing this. This career was 20 years, but you got to start somewhere. I've been doing it much longer now. 77. I've been doing it since I was 25. So I'm over 52 years I've been doing this now. And at first you learn, and I think I'm being redundant here, you learn by occasionally making a mistake, and you learn not to ever make that mistake again. And I never would ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do myself.
What were some of the earlier mistakes you've made in your career and the lessons learned from that you still hold on today?
Oh gosh, what would I do differently now? I don't know that I would do anything different. You learn by doing. You learn by making mistakes, I said early, and you learn never to make that same mistake again. And I listen to people. I would ask questions. I'm not a Mr. Know-it-all. Maybe I am now. At least I think I am sometimes. But back then I would go and people, when you're young, they for the most part, they want to help you. And I had a lot of, people I could turn to. There's been a lot in my life. And, later on, my parents, I bought them a house. My dad cried the whole time because they never had a house. And I'd made some money and I bought them a house, moved them up to where I lived in the area, took them out of the old house that they used to, one of the old houses I remember, it had holes in the floor and there was a rooster there. That rooster didn't like me, would come up through the floor and it would attack me. And that's the type of house they lived in. I mean, it's so it was good. I felt really good to be able to buy them a house.
And how old were you when you did that?
Then I was probably 27, maybe a little younger than that.
Man.
Maybe younger than that.
And was that after the first deal that you did with the shopping center?
Oh, yes.
The grocery store?
So how many deals did you do from that?
I had begun to turn the corner a little bit.
Yeah.
I became a preferred developer for food stores. I took on a project and a couple of people said, "You can't do that." Well, wait a minute. I control the land. I've got a lease from Walmart. I've got a lease from Sam's Club. I got the major tenants in place. What do you mean I can't do it? I figured out, oh, doggone it, I can. In fact, Sam Walton came to the grand opening. That was like, oh my gosh, you've done it now. I began to associate myself with some other people in the same business, and I found out they didn't have the same ethics I did, and I did better without partners. I really did better without partners.
Did it take a few deals with partners to come to that realization?
Yeah, it did. It did. By now, that company I had gone public, Kidder Peabody, they were out of business. A lot of the companies went out of business. I went through a couple of, well, I'm gonna call them recessions because they were borderline recessions. But yeah, I kept it going. I mean, I reached a point where the banks wanted to do business with me. I've started 3 banks. I've been startup banks. I've been involved in 3 startup banks at the time, and they trusted me. It was, you got to have some help, And
you helped so many today.
Huh?
And it said you helped so many today.
Yes. I try. I really do. As I said earlier, I think you learn by making mistakes and not to make that same mistake again. And a lot of these younger people, a lot of people who are less experienced, if I can help them not make that mistake or maybe turn a mistake into something, something good. And that's certainly possible in this business.
What are some mistakes that you've seen or that you've experienced yourself, and what's the lesson that you would share?
Some of the tougher
to the
problems
public
you had to solve.
I need a moment to give that some thought. I did. Some of the mistakes I made, I had occasionally, the ones that come to mind was, if you're going to do a project, you better do those soil borings, you better do your testing, you better do this, you better do all the things you should be doing. There was 2 occasions, let's say, we discovered, had to stop the project mid-construction because we uncovered bones. I mean, it was like, were they, okay, wow. you stopped, I'm under construction, That's happened more than once. I did the Church of Walmart. That's what they call me down here. And I'm fast forwarding quite a few years. Church was dying. They came to me and I said, I will buy your property and I will relocate you to a different church. It had been early on. There'd been a few people where their ashes were buried there. It's on Bee Ridge Road, on the corner, and they called it Church of Walmart. I got a little publicity there I didn't really care for, but as a result of that, I created hundreds of jobs. I mean, it's ashes. Yeah, we had to, the people out there to sort through the ashes and to do things, and I ended up buying three, maybe four burial plots at cemeteries to go bury the ashes. And that was something. It was, oh my gosh, what can I do? And I know when I went to the hearing in Sarasota, I knew I knew all the commissioners, and I know them all. And I was sitting there holding my wife's hand, and I was about to break her hand apparently. And I was like, Joe, vote, go ahead and vote. I need one more vote. And sure enough, without revealing his last name, yeah, he voted for it. But it had so many opposition. They were running. People had the signs up, Church of Walmart, and it was just a grocery store. Okay, and the people that weren't buried, I made darn sure I bought them cemeteries to make sure the burials were carried out right. And they buried right here in Sarasota, so it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Anybody in development, they scratch your head on that one. Let me tell you, I won't be doing that again ever. But it wasn't because it was bad.
It was just something that happened.
It was just different, My gosh, what is he doing?
Have there ever been times where you were almost wiped out of business?
Almost wiped out?
Yeah. Have you ever gone through experiences or pressures or macroeconomic forces that really affected that aspect?
I've gone through. I'm 52 years in business now. You're gonna have some situations that are out of your control. One of the bigger projects I hit, gosh, what did we do? Oh, the property was contaminated. I had to go in and take all the contamination out. And I had a partner. He just, threw his hands up. Well, I went ahead and finished that job. But every job is different. I mean, there's no cookie cutters in this business. And you better make darn sure it works on paper. If it doesn't work on paper, it's never going to work in reality. You shouldn't be doing it if it doesn't have a more than average economic return. I don't take risk. When I say I don't take risk, it's a legitimate business risk that I take. I don't bet the house. My wife doesn't sign the notes. I just pay everybody back on time, and pretty soon your reputation, it goes from here to here to here to here. Last time I borrowed money was only a few weeks ago, and it was $46 million. A lot of money. And people believe in me. I believe in myself. I have the best team any one person, multiple persons, companies could have. I mean, these guys, they run rings around me sometimes. They're enthusiastic. They're excited. They're smart. And without them, I probably would have retired.
Well,
now we're
rolling.
Huh?
And now we're rolling.
Yeah, we're on a roll right now. I used to have a guy that said, Jim, we're on a roll. Yesterday we were on a biscuit. Yeah, we're on a roll. That's for darn sure. We probably have reached the point where we're one of the larger, not the largest, there's only one, the largest here in Sarasota, that's Benderson. But we have, they're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. But we probably have as much going on as more than most developers in Sarasota.
100%.
And
and how did you meet Clint as well?
Clint? Clint was wandering around a couple of times, and it's like we've been partnering 16 years. He swears I taught him everything he knows. He's the best of the best in what his field is. He's got 63 projects right now, maybe 64. When he comes back from Augusta, how many is he going to have then? Another 5, I'm sure. Brent has the relationships. He spends a lot of time creating those relationships, and he represents. I say he represents. He has the inroads to bring just about any type of retail to the table because he's got our backing. Clint is a very wealthy person. I'm sure he wouldn't mind when I say that. Maybe some of it's on paper, but he reinvests in opportunities. He doesn't take his money in cash out and go put it in a bank. He rolls his money, and I roll with him. I love it. Clint brings me a deal. I don't even need to say it anymore. I know it works. And that's his relationships. I mean, Wawa, Chick-fil-A, I mean, it goes on. I mean, it's like it's a Costco. We got a Costco going on right now. Who knows what we're going to have before we leave here today, another project. But bringing these guys on board, they, the way Sadek and I got together, I had him, I had an office and he would hang around, and I was leasing from someone else, and I would see him around a lot, and finally, he was trying to learn. He had just gotten here and trying to learn. He was just trying to find a home. I had him structure. Okay, let's put this deal together. Put it together. It was a hotel. Show me what you got. Show me how you're going to do it. Doggone it. We were within 0.5% of each other. We built it on paper. We built the models. You got to build a model. If it doesn't work, you better leave it alone or find a way to make it work. And Sadek is the best of the best out there in that field. Clinton is the best in the retail out there. Banks have no problem giving us loans just on our, the fact we've been doing it so long and we do it right. We pay back everybody. But Clint has learned by doing, and that's the best way to learn. And he's developed friends all over the United States.
And the dynamic of where the company is today and its size, it sounds like your team has the best of the best within their respective fields. And it's almost like a special forces team.
It is.
Do you mind describing, was it always like that, Jebco, over the decades? Was it a larger company with more employees at that point in time or in the previous years? And then what were the market impacts that made you make any adjustments, if any?
I made everybody partners. Everybody partners. We make money. Everybody's going to make money. And they know that when they come in. We got an atmosphere there, and you see, it's almost like a frat house sometimes. People come in to learn, and we have the patience. We want to teach them if we can, because we learned. If I'm gonna have a mentor out there that I'm going to, I want it to be the best. And I got to tell you, I don't know anybody any better than we are. I mean, I really don't. I hope that doesn't sound, out of place, but we got so many ways of looking at prospective projects. If it doesn't meet our minimum criteria, then we just forget about it. Return on cost is the final determination of any project.
And what are you looking for on a return on cost?
Return on cost is just it's based on the. I won't do anything less than 28%. 28% is I'll probably pass on it. It's commercial. If it's something with more risk, like condos, we're up there at 35, 38% return on cost. In other words, whatever it costs, we're gonna make 38%. Or I'm not gonna do the deal. I'm not gonna take a risk out here and sign notes unless it's all about risk reward, and we're willing to do that. We'll put our money where our mouth is. The money we didn't have before, we got it now. Let's reinvest it. Let's keep it going.
Right.
These guys are doing. They're the best of the best. I'm just telling you. I've never, and they got big hearts. Every time I turn around, it seems like we got somebody else. But it's good. They're there to learn. We're there to teach if they want to learn. We got a lot of we got the girls are all participating. I mean, everybody there. Kathy's been with me. My Kathy, 30 some odd years. I don't know how I can't do without her. Now we got Joanne. We got this. We got that. I mean, we love these people. it's a family. It is a family. My gosh. And nobody is jealous of anybody. If we can make it better, if we can help somebody's life better, okay, yeah, I can answer that question. Now, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out that answer, okay? They come to us. They walk in. We don't have a lock on our door, but, we're there. Come on in, Have a seat.
Has that culture always been there? I believe earlier in maybe it was the 80s, the company had 50 plus employees at that time. How was it created, and how did it evolve from a larger employee pool to where it is today, or partner pool?
I'm not sure it was that way, but yeah, maybe we're not self-performing any of our work. And maybe that included, some of the people who were doing the construction, but we're very, very hands-on. I have my minimum hurdle. They know what it is, because that's going to determine your risk factor. You take legitimate business risks, otherwise you don't ever move from there hardly. I mean, but you have to do that, and to take those business risks, you got to dot all your I's, cross your T's, but you got to know how to do that. When do you do that? You show me a job, you show me anything you're working on, it'll take me about 15 to 20 minutes to walk you through it and say, hey, you need to do this before you do that. It's just something you learn. And you learn by doing, you learn by making mistakes, you learn not to make that same mistake again. And we're pretty confident group there. I mean, we can keep up with anybody. Anybody.
And so what are in terms of the future, what are some of the things that you look forward to the most?
Well, I was, one time I was 18 years old, and I became 30. All of a sudden, the clock starts running. Damn it, I'm 77 years old. When are you going to quit? Wait a minute, quit what? I'm having fun. It's not about the money. We have been very fortunate there. But it's what I like to do. And they still come to me. I go to them. We're a great team. I'm not doing it for the money as long as I've got something to do. What do people do when they retire? You know what they do? A lot of them just go die. Because while they were working, their mind was working. Your mind has got to keep working, or you'll just fade away. Oh, mine never stops working. I can't cut it off. I can't turn it off, even when I'm sleeping. An idea will come to me. I have to get it, make a note, so we don't get it the next day. And 77 years old. That's pretty good. I'd like to be. I want to turn the corner for a few more years. And it's not about the money. We have made a lot of money, and I try my best to give back. I'm renovating. I've been asked to renovate the biggest church in Sarasota. I'm on top of that, and I'm bringing somebody else in. My wife's on the finance committee for the church, and they turn to me, can you help us? Of course I can help you. So I'm rebidding the plans that it's going to save them several $1 million. I mean, I hope that's my goal.
And I know historically you said, that you've always done better without partners, but today you have more partners than the past and previously. So what are some of the things that excite you about the partnerships that you're in right now? And I know you touched on it earlier, but what do you think also makes a great business partnership?
Well, I can answer that. I don't want it to sound crazy, but I'll let it go ahead. I love Sadek. I love Lee. I love Clint. I love Joanne. I love my Kathy. I love these people, and they love me. I mean, we're bonded together. I mean, we would do anything we could to help each other. And we're also out there to help others. You help somebody, they're going to help themselves. You ask me a question, okay, I'm there to answer it if I can. So we're bonded together. We're one group. We work together as one group. Now, I did buy that building yesterday. I wanted to buy that because I had a 1031. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have, And I gave it to my wife. Honey, this is your building. So we're joined at the hip. We are. And everybody's always smiling when they come in there. If you hear us raise our voice sometimes, it's not because we're mad or upset. It's just because we can. We can. Doggone it. You know better than that. No, but we don't use that kind of language. We just say, okay, why didn't you do this? 9 times out of 10, Sadek will show me. I went after a project yesterday. Didn't go after it. He just kept, before he went out of town, doggone it, I met with a guy yesterday. He called me. 2 hours later, we have the project. Every major developer in the area wants this project. We have it. I met with the president of the association. He's going to help me renovate the church. I mean, you can't realize how much you've got in common with people you've never even met before. When you start talking, when you start getting together. I guess when it comes out that we have this one, and we don't need another project, by the way.
Yeah.
We got quite a few $1 billion in projects sitting there somewhere. I don't know where it is, $2 billion, maybe $3 billion. I don't know what it is. It's a number. I don't want to know. But this was it's just a situation which really works. We got a couple competitors out there. PMG being one. You've heard their name around town. Yeah. I was involved in a project with them. No longer. And there's no way we could have a better team than what we have right now. Right. Everybody has everybody's back. If we don't know the answer, we'll find it out in just a few minutes. We have a lot to teach the younger people who doesn't have experience. I learned the hard way. I learned by making mistakes and not to make that mistake again. But let's don't make that mistake. You don't have to make that mistake again. I mean, now, if you got a question, you come to ask us. We'll have a solution. I hate to give it up. I think if we got the Waldorf, we got this, we got that. I mean, they're all real deals. But with me, it's not the money anymore. It's just hanging out with my buds here. Let's get it done. Let's get it done.
I mean,
if I can help them, make be part of what I've learned, they go to the next level. You never go broke making a profit. And that's our number one objective. Let's make a profit. How much profit we're going to make? Well, return on cost is going to determine your risk. A condo project, I won't do anything less than 38%. And usually I'm way over that. And I say way over, much, because you got to have somewhere to absorb that risk in case inflation or something here happens, the market turns, it's overbuilt. Nobody wants to move to Sarasota anymore. You got to be able to hedge against something bad happening that you don't have any control over.
Right.
Like stock market. We got no control over that stock market. I don't even look anymore. We live in the best country in the world here. We got, I used to tell people, they telling me I got things to do, people to see. And when you stop learning, when you stop having fun, that's when it's time to get out. I know I can leave tomorrow and I can go. I'm going with Sadek to guitar. It's not going to change. It's going to be better when I get back, or it's going to be the same. We're not going to miss a step.
Right.
We like you guys coming around. We like you guys there. We like to, at some point, already happening. You're going to join our team. There's no question about that. I mean, it's going to happen.
Right. I'm a grown man. I'll tell you, I love Sadek. I love Lee. I love these people. And that's something
something you can't teach somebody. That's something, you know, I love Jesus Christ. I love a lot of things, but I'm very particular, you know.
Well, I mean, one of the things
I
that,
don't want to do something and love this person over here.
right.
He's got an issue. Please come to me. Let's resolve the issue before it becomes something we can't resolve. So,
Curious to know, because I know you came from Georgia, and you are the key developer. I would consider you a key developer of Sarasota. How did you put your sights on Sarasota? What's the story behind coming here,
Right.
and developing the team here, your company, moving it here, and what were the things that you saw that attracted you most about this market?
that's going to be a pretty easy question to answer, I think. We had friends that lived here, had retired here. I'm trying to think back. I think they're no longer with us anymore. Initially, my wife wanted, she was talking about Naples. She was talking about a lot of areas. She's got family in Naples. We would come down here and visit our friend, who was also passed, that moved here from Oklahoma. And we began to like it. Wait a minute, hold on. Let's go over here to the Ritz. Honey, let's go to the Ritz. They got all these units they got on the market coming up here. They're gonna auction offers or whatever. I don't know. That got my adrenaline going.
Around what year is this?
Oh gosh. Let's come back to that for a few minutes. That Ritz-Carlton's been built a long time ago. But they were doing it on some type of lottery system, something first come, first serve, whatever. We were not selected. And it was a selection process, I don't think. But I was doing a project in Atlanta. I was doing an 18-story, 20-story high-rise up there. It was called the Phoenix. I lived in Buckhead. And I was building that while we were looking down here, trying to decide where to go. We made up our mind we're going to Sarasota. We'll live at the Ritz. Well, the Ritz sold out. I'm not sure how they sold out before we got our name in the lottery. So, but they did. So we went out there and, there was a project across the street on Golden Gate Point. You probably know where that is now.
Yep.
Called the Phoenix. Wait a minute. I'm building a project in Atlanta called the Phoenix, and this one's called the Phoenix. They couldn't get it off the ground. Wait a minute. I went to see that guy. Next thing I know, kept him in as a minor part, and very minor. I took the project over. So here I am doing a Phoenix here, and I'm doing a Phoenix in Atlanta. And so I didn't need the Ritz-Carlton anymore. So I went over there, and I sold out almost immediately. They still live. Everybody I sold to, except one or two, and that's years ago, they still live there. They don't want to leave it. They love it. It's a great building.
Right.
So they got us here. Now I got a project. Got a Phoenix in Atlanta. Got a Phoenix here. This is going to be fun, and I have fun in what I do. I mean, you gotta enjoy what you do. We're taking on more business right now than probably we should. But on the other hand, wait a minute, we got people. We got great people. We can do it. Well, you got to go borrow the money. Well, yeah. My last loan was $46 million. I don't even remember recalling signing. That was just a few months ago. There's money out there for people who have a track record. There's money out there for people who do what they say they're going to do. And okay, it started out here 1 year. Next thing you know, 15 years. Oh, I've known this person 15, 20 years. I mean, I can walk in City Hall now. I know everybody there.
That was what I was saying.
And that's because I'd been there so many times. I helped get a lot of those people elected. They know I'm going to do the right thing. I always do. And it's not about the money. It's about always doing the right thing. Money will come with it. Money will come with it.
And building those relationships, and to your point, saying what you say you're going to do, over a long enough period, which builds the track record, and doing good by people.
You said it better than I can say it. That's exactly the way it is. And every time Sadek sometimes he looks, says, no, we're not going to do it that way, Sadek. We're not cutting any corners. Well, Sadek says, I don't think he was really used to that. And he's the same way I feel. We're not going to cut any corners at all. We're not going to do something we shouldn't be doing or not do something we should do just to make more money. It ain't going to happen. Not on my watch, not on Sadek's watch, not on Lee's watch. Not on your watch. Do the right thing. Just do the right thing. And the money will follow you, but you always got to have those margins between there. You asked me earlier about the return on cost. I don't do anything less than 28%, and I don't really want to do anything less than 38%. Clint's projects are more. Condos are a lot more risky, so that you probably, I think I've moved that up to 40% now right now. 40% return on cost. Okay, so if something goes wrong out of my control, maybe I only make 15%. Okay, still made money, made a nice profit.
And with your two projects, one in Atlanta or Georgia with the Phoenix and the second Phoenix in Sarasota, how was that your glimpse of excitement of coming into the market in Sarasota? And comparing both markets, what made you decide, yeah, that's where I really want to expand? And did you see an opportunity and potential to develop the landscape of Sarasota, or did that come after?
That, well, to get us here, I had to have something to do. I can't, just, and that project over there, when I saw I could take that project over or buy it or get involved in it, oh, that's all I needed. That's all I needed. Now I got a reason to move to Sarasota. I got a reason to do this. I did a hotel. I probably shouldn't have done that, but you do it a hotel. You don't know anything about hotels. Well, I do now. I opened the embassy with them in the middle of COVID. But you learn too how to make someone else's bad deal become a good deal. I mean, that can happen. You just unfix all the mistakes they've made, getting there, because there are people out there that don't know nearly as much as they think they know, and they should reach out, and that's why we're here. Reach out to us. We don't want to be a partner necessarily. Reach out to us. We'll show you how. God knows we are, we're doing really, really well. And we couldn't do it without the union that we have, the bond that we have. Everybody loves to come to work. Even the girls love to come to work. I can't get Kathy out of it. She's been with me 30-something years. She's 80. I always tell her your age, but I wouldn't take anything for her. She's my baby. She's my sweetheart. I told her husband when he passed, don't worry, I'll always take care of Kathy. She takes care of me. It's the other way around. So it keeps you young. When you get to be 77, to me it's just a number but then the damn arthritis found me. So now I feel the pain. But as long as, I'm not going to be kicked out to the pasture. As long as I enjoy what I do, I'm going to be there every day.
And in terms of your mentality and spirit and energy, do you ever think about how old you feel or think of in terms of, do you feel like you're still in your 20s or 30s and you still have that energy?
Your life's going to change. There's no question about it as you get older. Now, those guys are in there. Their arms are like this. They work out strenuously almost every day. I don't do that. But when I do work, I can still work out 200 pounds. Now, you got to keep moving. You can't just stop. You got to keep your brain moving. You can't make your brain stop. Keep it going, but keep it going in a productive manner. Okay, today I'm going to do this. Well, maybe I did. Oh, I did that yesterday. Have I lost? No, I have my physical every 6 weeks. Every 6 months. I keep reading about dementia. Oh God, this guy's got dementia. So over here, whatever. Every 6 months I have a physical. Check my brain. Scan it. Let me know if I got dementia. If you see any early right, well, no, I told you don't have it. But it's something I wanted to check because I don't want to become a burden on anybody. I want to be as sharp as I can be. I don't want to be making stupid mistakes. These guys won't let me make a stupid mistake, and I won't let them make a stupid mistake.
holding each other accountable.
Yes, absolutely. Hit it right on there.
Mm.
We hope to build a foundation, which we're already in the process of doing, where we can make a difference. We are already, a reputation in Sarasota has gotten out there in a very good way. We get first look at probably most of the best deals in town. We know all the brokers. They know if they bring a deal to us, we're going to give them an honest answer, and if we put it under contract, we're going to close it. We're going to close it. So we're not going to waste anybody's time. By helping each other, and this never stops, and we love it. It's almost like going to a reunion, a party, or whatever. It's like, oh God, I can't wait to go have breakfast this morning. I was on the phone early, you know. What does Sadek do? Well, spoil that. He had breakfast delivered, you know. That's just the way it works.
Yeah.
You know? Hey, we got to be working. We don't have time to go out for breakfast. Work hard, play hard. It's always been the way, and always do the right thing. Always work, make decisions from your heart. Don't take something bad and you try to make it good unless it's forced upon you.
And with the amount of success that you've created and your team has created, when you look back at your life, what would you want your legacy to be remembered for, and what do you want to leave others with?
Well, that can be answered in many, many ways. I never ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. I don't ask too much from people, but you got to keep up. You got to keep up with a 77-year-old. Otherwise, you're going to have to start over again. You know, second grade, third grade, work your way back up. Nothing wrong with that. So let's do it right the first time. Okay, if you don't know the answer, come to me, or figure it out and then go ask somebody else. Is this what it should be? Don't make mistakes unless it's a legitimate business decision that you probably shouldn't have made with economy change or something else. Those kind of deals you can't control. Just like the stock market. You know, I think I got $3 million in the market. I don't even look at it. It's not like it's a tremendous amount of money, but it is to most people. I mean, it's a lot different than, you know, a brown bag I used to carry my lunch in, you know, while I was going to school. But if you accomplish what your objective is, and you got a return on cost there without taking crazy risk, then that's what it's all about on any deal.
Do you feel like through the various projects over the multi-decades you've been in the business, you've taken away life lessons, project lessons, most of which turned out to be profitable with the success track record that you have? And to your point, each grade that you graduate to all the way up until 77, making sure you don't make the same mistakes, and ideally learning those lessons without having to lose money on it, and being able to share those life lessons and project lessons with your team and making sure that they too don't make those same mistakes. How have you taught people and developed that educational component within that group dynamic?
Well, you heard me earlier say, you know, if I didn't say it, I'm surprised I didn't. One bad deal can ruin 2 or 3 good deals. We choose not to do a bad deal. That's why this goes back to return on cost. I'm not going to do something that's borderline where I make this much money and I take this much time where I could be working on something more productive, something that's more where if you don't reach your goal, so what? You're going to make money anyway. You're going to make money because you did not over leverage that project. You left room back here. Maybe you didn't make it a 28% return or 30%. Maybe you only made 20%. That's still good. But don't let that bad deal run these 2 good deals over here. If you got any doubts about a deal, you pass on it. You pass on it. You know, It's probably going to still be there for a long time. That's where people get caught in it. They said they go right in. They're I'm a developer. What do you mean you're a developer? I said, okay, you're a developer. What are you doing? What are you developing? What are you doing? Well, I got this project over here that I'm doing. They start explaining it to me. Wanting my opinion. I'm thinking, why would you be doing that? I don't say that, but this project, you don't want to do that with this particular project, this site. You're doing this all wrong. I don't want to tell somebody that. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt people's egos, but let's back up a step, and now let's take a second look at it, and third look. Now let's look at the return on cost. What can go wrong? Sometimes what can go wrong will go wrong if you don't understand it. It's like when I was by myself, sort of, I would go to the ICSC. After a while, I got tired of going to it. But it's all about relationships. I had two of the most beautiful women a man could hope to have working for me. One of my nicknamed Hollywood. She had a shake. Gosh, my gosh. I wouldn't go in there and make the introduction. They would go in there. They could always get appointments because they looked good. They acted. They were funny. They had fun. But
Presentation matters.
That was their
Presentation
job.
matters.
That was their job. Hey, let's go set up dinner. Well, I know if I try to set it up, it wouldn't happen. Okay, but they could every time. So always surround yourself with the right people. If the door's locked, there's a way to open it.
If you look at like a all-star team and the different roles that each all-star players in the all-star team have in a rockstar real estate company, what would you say are the different players that you would want on your team and the different skill sets that you'd want to make the most well-rounded team?
Well, if they got a skill level, which everybody has some degree of a skill level, they come on with our team, it's going to change pretty quickly. It's going to get better. You're going to learn more by being around people who do this stuff every day or every other day. I said earlier, you learn by making mistakes, not to make that same mistake again. Why make a mistake? Let's don't make a mistake. Don't have to. We've been down that road already. We're not going down that road again. We're not going to let you go make a mistake. If you want us to help, and we reach out to you, please help us. We're doing it for a reason. There's a lot of talent here. There's a tremendous amount of talent. We've all got broker's license, had broker's license. I never brokered anything my entire life. When I say all my life, all my career. What is a broker's license? We all know what it is, what it's supposed to be. I lost my house. I was living in Atlanta. I was married. Don't make me cry now. Come on, honey, let's go find a place to live. That was tough. New company had some problems. Wait a minute. I've got a broker's license. Why don't I use it a little bit? Well, I did. I used it on one time in my life. I've used it one time. I went to a closing. Gosh. Just lost my house. I lose my wife. And I was getting a commission. Because I took care of the deal. I made it happen. Commission was $7,500. Got there and got everything all closed, ready to be closed. And I had a little commission, enough in there. Gosh, it wasn't much. I think it was $5,000. Okay, I didn't get $5,000. I got nothing. I put the deal together. I was sick in my stomach. I began to. I thought about what did I do wrong? Anyway, this guy came up to me. This sold the property that I sold for him. Stuck his finger in my chest. He said, "You know what happened today, don't you?" And I'm thinking, yeah, I know what happened. To my breath. He says, "I got you money hit my chest. And you don't. I you today. Let that be a lesson to you. And he's talking to a man who just lost his home, about to lose his wife, lose his mind. Oh, I wanted to hit him bad. I mean, there are people out there like that. There are people out there like that. Oh, my God. Boy, I learned a good lesson. I learned a good lesson. It made me a stronger person because I would never be like that was. You know, I couldn't be that way. But he could, and he wanted to get it in my face. And, I just lost my house, my wife. I'm having to, it's just, what happened? What, God, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Well, I probably should have hit him, because I'm an old country boy. I grew up that way. I never, but we always would laugh about it, We'd, get a little tussle or something. We start laughing about it. But he did it to hurt me. He did it to prove a point. I could never, ever do that to anybody. I would push it over if it's got, if it's an odd number, I'm going to push it over the other person's side. But that wasn't that long ago, actually. That was in Atlanta. But it was just wrong. People think, sometimes there are people out there that are selfish. When I say speak from the heart, the definition of that. Most people don't even know where their heart is. They damn sure don't speak from it. It's what can I do today? What am I going to do? You'll never see us intentionally do the wrong thing. Never. And we always have, if the deal's complicated, it's got one strategy, and that's okay. We'll find another one. We're not going to do it. I got to have two methods.
Two exit strategies?
Exit strategy. Always. And I do, but, there are people out there that are, any other time I would not have done, I would have probably, because he's hurt my wife when he hurts. Mm. He hurts me like that.
And, as an entrepreneur, we go through so many levels of adversity, uncertainty, and then also bringing our families through those things as well. What are some of the things that are really important for someone who wants to be great, have, a partner that can also endure through that journey as well? What are some of your thought processes around the qualities that every entrepreneur should look for in a romantic partner?
Well, you got to be patient. And I know patient. I'm saying that. I'm a Gemini. I don't know what that means. I think I do. I'm never patient. God, I can hardly sit in this seat. I'm ready to go. It's important to be patient. Do I do that? Not always, because I'm in a hurry to get some things done, or I'm in a hurry to know. Even though I can know the next day or whatever. We're gonna make some deals here. We're gonna see what it's all about, and every deal is gonna be different. None of them's gonna be the same. It's amazing when a person, any person, they can't wait to get up in the morning and go to work. When you feel that way, you've turned the corner. You've found something. And I found that right away with my guys. Found it right away. And you hear sometimes, but it's always in anything, anybody yelling, whatever. It's always, we love each other. So it's sometimes you got to do that. But anyway, that's a pretty big part of my life. I hope I got.
Man, this is going to help a lot of people. And did you have some thoughts?
I was going to say the original legacy question I asked. My observations I've made right now is it's the values that you've instilled in others, what you're sharing here today, speaking from the heart, doing right by people, treat people better than others may have treated them, and make the world a better place. Those values are more important than I believe, any real estate deal you've ever done, because that's what's going to pay it forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see we're talking here. This is not something I turn the pages on and I would say it. I always speak from my heart. I don't know any other way to do it. I always treat people, okay, like I want to be treated. If I'm doing something wrong, let me figure it out. Somebody tell me I'm doing something wrong. A guy told me one time, he said, you just told that guy to go to hell. I'm going to have to come back with a comeback here. I said, no, I didn't. I don't even talk that way. He said, Jim, it's not what you say. It's how you say it. I thought about that for a moment. Maybe I raised my voice too high. Maybe I showed my frustration when I really should have kept it to myself, not to him. Good point. I'm glad he brought that to my attention. I never really thought about it.
Wow.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I love my wife very much. I could never, ever hurt her. So I'm more conscious about what I say over here because I don't want to hurt anybody. God, I could never, I'd go crazy to hurt my wife. And I don't mean physically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where she thinks less of me than she did before because I said something that really bothered her. So we learned to be more open with each other. If we got something that we don't understand or we question, we talk about it. Mm. You know what? We walk out of there. Hey, what did we talk about? I forget before I get out of the room. So it's what's important to some people. It's not a big deal with others and so forth. But that's important to me and my wife. You never go to bed unhappy.
Yeah. Well, this has been an absolutely incredible interview. And, I obviously, I work beside you every day and see you from a distance, but even just getting to know you through, this podcast and hearing your story, it's just even more inspiring. And just look forward to what the future holds for us.
Okay. I'm glad I'm here. I actually enjoyed this very much. Thank you for the opportunity to come in here and talk. And everything I said today came from my heart. Mm. And I don't even know what I said, maybe. But it came from my heart. I promise you that.
Yeah. I would like to ask some rapid fire questions at the end. It could be one-word answers or a couple seconds.
Okay.
Something a little bit more playful. Just pull them up. Okay. What would you tell your 40-year-old self?
My 40-year-old self. Oh my gosh. Go to the next question. I'll have you an answer in a moment. I haven't spoke to my 40-year-old self in 37 years.
And I'll give you a hint on the two follow-up questions, that your 30-year-old self and your 20-year-old self, but I'll go back to that in a moment. If you weren't doing real estate, what would you be doing?
I can't imagine not doing anything but real estate. I can't imagine. There's nothing out there that I would even consider. I can't, I wouldn't want to be a doctor, especially hopefully saving people's lives. I had cancer a few months ago. I don't have cancer today. Make you stop and think about things, Mm. Hey, wait a minute. I got cancer. Wife says, come on, get in the car. Where are we going, honey? We're going to Moffitt. We're going right now. Oh my gosh. So she's transported me to Moffitt. Went up there and you verified I got cancer. What are you going to do about it? Well, hope it's not too late to get God more in my life. But it was something that I'm cured, by the way. But unknowingly, I've probably got a half a dozen friends. I can think about 10 right now, more than that. They have cancer, but they don't have cancer anymore. Cancer would kill you, and still will if you don't do something immediately. It has that capability. So I'm just glad I'm here to be able to, because I was thinking, oh, looks like it's all over, in my mind. Uh, but we think we got it fixed. I get home, and all of a sudden, 2 other friends got cancer, serious cancer. One's got colon cancer. That's Katie barred the door probably. So everything you do in life is important. Dadgummit, live life to the fullest, because you never know if you're going to be here tomorrow or not. Oh, my God. Just think about something really sick, being in a car crash, or being something, having your life crash, and taking someone with you. Because whether they die or not, you've taken everything that person felt about you away, because you died. You're no longer here anymore. My wife loves me to death. Gosh, but your wife. Oh, my gosh. I don't want to take away anything from anybody. Oh, my wife, don't you dare die on me. Oh, I'm not going to. That's a crazy,
But it's
analysis, but it's all true. You don't think about death till it's you. And I personally, I say this right in front of my wife, I wouldn't want to live without her. I mean, she's my rock. I've got a puppy dog. Her name is Lola. She's one I adopted years ago. I must tell that dog I love her 50 times a day. I mean, really. I mean, we got dogs that come through the office sometimes.
Bella's coming soon.
Yeah. I don't want to leave anything on the table unless it's for somebody else. I want to live my life to the fullest. I want to give back as much as I can. That's why I'm attempting to rebuild this mammoth church over here. I got God in my life now. That wasn't before. So I didn't answer your question, but it's
you are where you are meant to be.
Yes.
And having found your soulmate in your wife, what is one of your favorite memories with her? Whether it's something when you traveled with her or anything at all that comes to mind.
Well, maybe that's coming up this week at Qatar. I was married before. I was married before twice. I don't know how much of this is. I lived in the fast lane. I had friends. I was making money. They hung around me because I was making money. I lived in limos. I partied. I wasted a good portion of my life being that person I couldn't stand. What's wrong with you? Why are you out to 2 o'clock in the morning? That's what are you doing? I finally said, hey, these friends, they are really my friends. If they were friends, we wouldn't be here doing what we're doing. I got rid of my friends. They were my friends. I just, sometimes you want something so badly, if you get it, maybe you're not, maybe you wish you'd never seen it. But I grew up. I changed my life. I found God. I became a different person. Not that I was any different, but I didn't make a whole lot of changes except, okay, if I had it all to do over again, would I do the same thing? No, I would not do that. I chose my friends wisely. I'm choosing my friends wisely today, too. I'm not answering your question. I don't know what I would do differently. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful home. I love my dog. I have life again. Gosh, I may make 77, 78, 79. Who knows? Maybe 80. My wife's mother was 103, 105. She died. So my wife's got longevity in her life. But I think having these guys around, Sadek, Lee, everybody, I think that extends your life. I think you feel, I feel different when I'm at the office sometimes. I love being around that office.
And
we're all buddies.
And it brings you energy.
It brings me energy, yes. Yeah, it sure does. Otherwise, I'd be moping. I don't know what I'd be doing. I really don't know what I would be doing.
Now, going back to the first question, if you don't mind, even if it's a couple words, just it could be patience, it could be anything you'd like. What would you tell your 40-year-old self from what you've learned throughout these decades, putting yourself in that perspective?
Well, I was trying to put myself in that perspective a few moments ago, just to see if I could. I can't. I can't. I've totally turned my life around in a good way.
Hmm.
I sympathize with people. I love Jesus Christ. Sometimes I end up doing things, volunteer to do things, because sometimes if you want it done right, do it yourself. I take on maybe too much, That was before Sadek and Lee came around. Once they came around, it became a different story. Next thing I know, I got Joanne, my Kathy. We're building a team. We're building a small empire, but when I say small, it could be a huge empire. Is that something that I would like to do? Why not? Why not? It's fun being me. It really is. Sometimes guys get a little bit aggravated with me. But they love me. I love them. So it's like, hey, we're having fun. We have more fun than anybody should have, and we're making a lot of money. Okay, where's it going? I don't know. It's just money, Nobody. I think we've all. I want everybody in that office to be a millionaire, and most everybody is going to reach that maybe they already have. But why stop at $1 million? Why more? Well, we heard that, money's the root of all evil. I don't think so. I got money, I can go help other people. I helped that guy on the street with his, he used to have a job, he doesn't have one right now, or whatever, So I give back. My wife and I both give back.
My last question is, what's your favorite ice cream?
I guess we're gonna keep it simple. Didn't hesitate on that. Yeah.
Man. Well, thank you so much, Jim.
Well, let's go make some money. What do you think? Let's go.